It seems like a lot of famous doctor influencers are out there. They have their megaphone and they're really going on all these different shows. They're really just big, huge proponents for HRT. Yes, they might be saying, yeah, well, I'm a big proponent of all of the hormones. Women should all be put on hormones. If they have low hormone, they're not even talking about perimenopause and menopause anymore. They're just talking about women with low hormones. This is just the medical model of how they behaved in the past with a pill for every ill. Shouldn't doctors move away now? Haven't we learned enough, particularly after COVID? They're medicating you. They're throwing a pill at every ill to try to bring balance. Can't we just take a step back and say, all right, let's look at your thyroid. Let's look at your metabolism. How many calories do you get per day? How much of that is protein? Are you fasting? Do you skip meals? Are you working out too hard? Are you not working out at all? Let's go through those things with a scalpel. Hey everyone, it's Healthy Gut Girl, Kitty Martone, and this is Stuff Your Doctor Should Know. I'm coming to you live from deep inside your large intestine. Did you know that your large intestine looked like this? That it had a beautiful fiddle leaf in it and a fluffy little shih tzu? I can make some jokes about that. Anyway, here I am. And I am doing a solo mission today, which I haven't done in years. Actually, I did one on Ray Peat's patent not too long ago, maybe about a year ago. And now I'm going to do some upcoming solo missions. It was in demand, and so I'm going to do that and start talking about different topics just for a little while. And but I do have some announcements today to make that I'm really happy about. I'm so excited about. And one of them is that we have 3 new sponsors for the podcast. I am so excited about this. One of them you know extremely well because I've talked about them before and I love them and I use them all the time. And it is Saturé. So this episode is brought to you by Saturé, one of my favorite brands that truly aligns with everything I believe about skin and internal health. Saturé takes a pro-metabolic approach to skincare and supplementation, which means they support your body's natural energy production and detox pathways. And yes, your skin is a detox organ. It's your largest one. So how it looks and feels is so much about how you're detoxing from the inside out. Their PUFA-free skincare line is clean, it's nourishing, it actually supports skin health instead of works against it. Here's my favorite products from them. I love their gelatin, their facial cream, their methylene blue serum, and their oyster capsules, but all their stuff is good. But they're all packed with minerals and feed your skin, and your hormones will love them. So if you're ready to simplify your routine and support your skin from the inside out, go to the show notes, click on the Saturé link, and use the coupon code SKINLOVE. Okay? Your skin is a mirror of your metabolism. Feed it what it needs with Saturé. Okay, so the next sponsor, so you won't be hearing them like this in the future podcasts. There's going to be obviously, mid-rolls and end rolls and whatnot. But the next one is really sweet. I love it very much. And it is actually this company. It's called 7 Weeks Coffee. So this episode is powered by 7 Weeks Coffee, and I absolutely love what this company stands for. It's called 7 Weeks because at 7 weeks, a baby is the size of a coffee bean. And that's the moment that most women see their baby for the first time in an ultrasound. 7 Weeks Coffee is unapologetically pro-life like me, and every purchase, they donate a portion of their profits to pregnancy centers to support women and help them choose life. Not only is their mission incredible, but the coffee is truly amazing. It's shade grown, it's organic, it's mold free, and they have decaf for those of us who are kind of sensitive like me. So if you're looking for a clean, delicious coffee that supports a cause that you care about, check it out in the show notes. You'll get an automatic 10% off discount with the coupon code KITTY7weeks, the number 7, KITTY7weeks, and you'll be supporting the podcast at the same time. So drink with purpose. Choose 7 weeks. Okay, and then this sponsor is so incredibly close to my heart. It means so much to me. I prayed for a sponsor that could be a charity. And let me be really clear, I am not being paid to share this with you. I'm not taking a single dollar from them. This sponsorship simply means they support me spreading their life-saving message to my audience. Every donation goes directly to their mission. Preborn is a beautiful pro-life ministry that provides free ultrasounds to women in crisis pregnancies. Their goal is to support mothers, help them choose life, and offer care through nationwide network of pregnancy clinics. Just $28 provides one ultrasound to a woman in need. That may be the moment she hears her baby's heartbeat for the first time and makes a courageous decision to choose life. If it moves you like it moves me, please consider making a tax-deductible donation. Visit the Preborn link in the show notes below, and thank you so much for helping make a real difference. So I'm so excited about these sponsors. You'll be hearing more from them and about them through my different episodes, and I'm so blessed to have these three companies on my side and me on their side. So that's the first exciting announcement. And then I wanted to talk about a couple of people. I got some messages about my recent Substacks that basically said, hey, what's up? What's up with the attack on estrogen from you? And I'm like, no, wait a minute, yo. Like, what's the big, marketing push for it? And so I just wanted to elaborate a little bit on my position for those of you that may not know about my position or may not even know, who cares about me, but the actual message that I'm trying to get across and that I've been trying to get across for over 10 years now. It seems like a lot of famous doctor influencers are out there, and it's cool because they're really they have their megaphone, and they're really going on all these different shows and their own Instagrams and social medias, and they're really just big, huge proponents for HRT, which is hormone replacement therapy. And that can mean synthetics like Premarin. So I don't like that they use HRT. I wish they would say BHRT, because BHRT means basically like plant-based progesterone, testosterone, estrogen, even though those need to be synthesized in a lab and they still need to be extracted from the plant sterols to make the hormones. So technically they are synthetic as well, but I'm talking about bioidentical hormones. And they mostly are too. I don't think there's a lot of women who are promoting, a lot of doctors. There probably are, but not on Instagram. And the women who are more caught up with today's bioidentical hormone supplementation, most of them are using, bioidenticals. So I don't like the word HRT. I think it includes too many things that a hormone replacement therapy. That could be the birth control pill. That could be Premarin. It could be a lot of things. Mirena coil. It could be a lot of things. Progestins. So we want to be more specific. I think it's important. I think you shouldn't be conflating the two any longer. You shouldn't be conflating progestins and progesterone. If you're a medical doctor and you're using the word progesterone to describe what's in a Mirena coil, and you say, oh, but it is progestin, it's just under the umbrella of progesterone. No, progesterone is progesterone. You're not allowed to do that anymore. It's almost like just calling almond milk milk. It's like, no, it's not milk. There's nothing about almond milk that is milk. Nothing. It's literally nut juice. It's literally milk, nut juice, almond juice, squeezed almond juice. But it's far more important than that little quip. It's far more important to stop conflating it. 1998, there was a huge push from scientists and some medical doctors to stop calling progestins progesterone and to make a very clear distinction when we're doing research and science and clinical studies and in clinical settings, to stop calling it progesterone when it's not. It is one molecule different from bioidentical progesterone and the progesterone your body makes. Progestin is one molecule different, and that difference can be the difference between thrombosis, breast cancer, fibroids, heart disease. Progestins have been implicated in all of those things. So we need to stop conflating them. It's starting to make these people look a little bit ignorant. So that's a big beef. I've got some beef. Today I've got some beef. And then the other issue I take is that, yes, they might be saying, yeah, well, I'm a big proponent of, all of the hormones that women should all be put on hormones. If they have low hormone, they're not even talking about perimenopause and menopause anymore. They're just talking about women with low hormones. And this is just the medical model, guys. This is just doctors from the way that the medical model of how they behaved in the past with a pill for every ill, just dressed up in an Instagram post and dressed up and going to see all these other influencers and talk on their shows, but it's still a pill for every ill. They're still saying, you'll get your life back if you get on testosterone, progesterone, and estrogen. And yet, which I think is a better message than in the past, where we just ignore it and this is just the way things are. But we can find a happy place in the middle. I don't care what anybody says. I'm not demonizing estrogen, and I'm not demonizing hormone replacement therapy, bioidentical. I'm not. But I think we should meet in the middle. We've swung from from the Women's Health Initiative study, where we had estrogen is going to kill you, to estrogen can do no harm. Oh yeah, and testosterone and progesterone are cool too. We got to come in the middle. We got to come back to the center. We got to balance. We've got to find some homeostasis and say, okay, yes, like there is a time and a place for all these things, but shouldn't we first, just like if you go in to see a medical doctor and you have, let's say, ridiculously high cholesterol, you have prediabetes, and you have high blood pressure, shouldn't doctors move away now? Haven't we learned enough, particularly after COVID? Haven't we learned enough to take a step back and say, okay, before I start throwing 3 different medications at you, which they are considered medications, especially if they're coming from a doctor in a compounding pharmacy, etc., they're medicating you. They're throwing a pill at every ill to try to bring balance. Can't we just take a step back and say, all right, let's look at your thyroid. Let's look at your metabolism. How many calories do you get per day? How much of that is protein? Are you fasting? Do you skip meals? Are you working out too hard? Are you not working out at all? Let's go through those things with a scalpel. I'm not just talking about on your new client form where it's like, okay, yes, I eat healthy. I eat a couple salads a day. Plus I do this. I do a smoothie in the morning. Yes, I work out. I go to Orange Theory 3 times a week. Yes. No, we need to, doctors need to get into this space where they're sitting down with a fine tooth comb. If you don't have time, or it doesn't cover, your CPT codes don't cover it, have a PA do it, have an assistant do it, have a department in your center that offers a nutritionist like myself who can sit down and say, all right, how many calories do you eat a day? I promise you 95% of your clients have no idea how much protein they're getting. 0. And you can't just send them home with a page of protein options. They're not going to do it. Most people are not compliant. They want you to give them a pill to make things better. And so if that's what you're doing, you're no better than the medical model of the past. So now, sometimes, okay, so let's move on to the part where women feel better. They get their lives back. That's fantastic. I'm not against that. I want people to feel better too. I wanted to feel better too. And I would have done, and I did just about everything to try to feel better. But again, with the medical model, so you're on some blood pressure lowering medications now, you're on some heartburn medications now, and you're feeling better. Does that mean you're healthy now? If you took out a loan from the bank, does it mean you're rich now? No, you're in debt. You've got to deal with the root cause. causation does not imply correlation. So just because something made you feel better doesn't mean it was that thing that did it. You know, just because I have a massive migraine and I take an Advil, does that mean the Advil was the cure? No, it doesn't mean that. So not always, hardly ever. So same thing with estrogen. And we talk about this a lot. I talk about this all the time, which is that estrogen, there's plenty of data now that shows that that hot flashes are not an issue of low estrogen. That's what's going on is that blood sugar is dysregulated, progesterone is low. So that means that somewhere in your day, ongoing now, you have been eating a diet and dealing with a diet that has left you without enough fuel to make energy, to put it very simply. And so your body is having a reaction to this dysregulation. And so you take and it just happens to be as we get into perimenopause and menopause that it shows up, although now it's even sooner. And so what do? We take the estrogen and the estrogen helps. Why? Because estrogen has a direct impact on hypothalamus, which regulates body temperature. So it helps it, but it's not addressing the ultimate insulin resistance issue underneath all of it. And that's just going to get worse. And we know, like, maybe your hot flashes are gone, but all you've gone and done is like, a warning light went off on your dashboard and you went in and you like cut the cord of the light and said, cool, the light's off now. How smart is that? Not smart. So, but that's what we're being told to do. So we do it and it seems like it works. And so it's the same thing with a lot of these problems. It's like vaginal atrophy, painful sex, vaginal prolapse, incontinence, painful joints. All of these things, estrogen seems to help a lot of women. And they're like, I've got my life back. And that's awesome. But for me, I'm someone who I was very sensitive to estrogen. I was estrogen dominant my whole life. And so many women, I've got a group of 58,000 women. A lot of them are like, why isn't it working for me? Why am I taking these things and I'm worse? Or it helps my vaginal atrophy, but I'm not sleeping through the night. Or I'm gaining so much weight, but yay, my libido's back. Like, can't we find a way to bring balance to all of this? We're never going to be perfect. We're always going to have problems, but can't we diminish our risk? At least check first. That's my message. I get so lambasted online, and now it's made its way into Instagram. People are mentioning me out of the blue, like I'm this estrogen hater and I'm a shamer. I shame people who go on hormones. What? I sell hormones. I literally work for ONAs. I work for a plant-based hormone support company, and I sell estrogen. I sell estradiol. I sell estriol, pregnenolone, DHEA, progesterone. Like, that's literally what I do. So I'm game, man. I'm game. If you need it, there's a time and a place. Absolutely. But my whole goal is let's exhaust our efforts in all of the ways that we can naturally before we start to add in things that are crutches or Band-Aids. And people are like, yeah, but your whole group is all about progesterone. I think in the very, very beginning, it was because I didn't know as much as I do now. And so I was like, it's definitely, but I've always known it's a Band-Aid. I've always known it's a crutch. And I've said that. You can go back into the group to, 10 years ago and see me saying it's not a magic bullet. Yes, it's a crutch. Yes, let's go for the root. Let's start looking for balance. Who wants to be on 400 milligrams of progesterone and testosterone and estrogen? You got to budget that stuff into your life. It's so expensive, especially these days. So do we want to do that? It's not sustainable. So if there's a way that we can achieve balance, let's do it. So this is my other big beef. It seems like, no, it doesn't seem, it's pretty obvious that the medical model is seeing the trends, and they're seeing that, after COVID, people aren't trusting just these conventional messages about, put your health into our hands, trust the science type of stuff. And they're seeing the trends towards bioidentical, towards healthy versions of this, and why suffer, it's the same medical model. And so they're pushing it, and they're saying, yeah, but we also talk about nutrition. And this medical doctor also has a PhD in nutrition, but yet they're not really getting to the bottom of these things. And so going back to my beef, so they're looking at menopause like it's a disease, like it's an illness. And that's the new message. And so ever since the Women's Health Initiative, which many of you may not know about that, but it was a study done a while ago on hormone therapy, and it really demonized estrogen. But what they didn't tell you, or what they didn't really elaborate later as they marketed this message, was that they used Premarin. It wasn't entirely thorough and effective, and it was a bummer because a lot of negative information was taken from that and made women feel terrified of hormones. Did that stop doctors from prescribing hormones? Maybe, but I know a lot of people who have been on estrogen for a very long time. So older people. So anyway, the point is that now and women got mad about it. They got emotional, they got reactive about it, and they're like, that's not fair. It was men's study. Men were in charge of this, and men. Now we need a study for women, by women for women, which I think is great. But I also think that they're being emotionally reactive, and they're saying estrogen is excellent, and they're not. And it's like, hey, can it be that estrogen is amazing, but it can also have the potential for being dangerous? And so we should be careful. Can we meet in the middle somewhere and stop gaslighting people like me who have spent the last 15 years dealing with, estrogen dominance, and, all of these women who are like in their fertile years, polyps, cysts, fibroids, fibrocystic breasts, swollen lymph, lymphedema, PCOS, adenomyosis, endometriosis, all of it, high levels of estrogen, pushing our estrogen down very unhealthy pathways. You're doing bad things with our estrogen at the liver and having very reduced progesterone for a lot of different reasons. And then we get into perimenopause, and the progesterone exponentially declines, and estrogen goes down a little bit as well, but we're still dealing with all these things. And then the estrogen gets so low, we go to a doctor, they do a blood lab, and they say, your estrogen's low. It's low for your age. Let's go ahead and put you on estrogen. Very rarely offering up progesterone. Now it's happening a little bit more, but still not enough. And then, and let's put you on testosterone. Not thinking for 1 second to test. No one's going to test tissue estrogen because it can be invasive. You'll have to get biopsies. But they're not testing. But they're not even looking at your symptoms and your history. Like, okay, you grow fibroids, you grow polyps, you grow things. So maybe you aren't a candidate. Let's try and look for safer means to get you balanced before we start introducing estrogen. But they do it anyway. They put you on the estrogen, and then you start growing things. You start doing bad things with it again. There was a study done, and I put this in my last Substack article, which was 313 women who had breast cancer, who were postmenopausal, and they took all of their blood values, and all of them had either normal for their age, postmenopausal age, or low. All of them. They all had, and the ones that had metastasized, the cancer had metastasized, their levels were still low to normal. They weren't elevated. So say that woman before she got cancer goes into her doctor, and let's say she's 65, And the doctor says, you have lowish estrogen. Let's go ahead and put you on estrogen and give you 100 milligrams or 200 milligrams of progesterone, which is nothing, especially oral. It's nothing. You're going to absorb 30% of that, and it's going to mostly be turned into the calming metabolite, which is great, but it's not going to do anything for all this estrogen they're about to give you. And then, 5 years later, this woman has breast cancer or any kind of cancer. So the point of that, my Substack, was it doesn't matter if you have low estrogen. You could still have elevated levels of estrogen in your tissues. And so they say, well, who cares? Who cares about that? In fact, there was all this laughing going on one particular post in Instagram. Who cares about that? Hey, I care. Because when I can't even take phytoestrogens, I take flax seeds and my breasts start to swell. I do bad things with my estrogen, and you know who you are out there. And I'm not an outlier. There's a lot of women who don't do good things with their estrogen. And so we're just going to ignore them? We're going to just pretend like they don't exist and they're ridiculous, and I'm not a doctor, so what the hell would I know? That's not smart. It's rude, and it's the medical model all over again. And so my message is why don't we just err on the side of caution? Is that so bad? Is that so bad to err on the side of caution? So another thing is, who is testing for xenoestrogens? Anybody want to raise their hand out there? Dr. Claver, what's her name? Dr. Claire Haver? Anybody else? It's the only one that comes to mind right now. There's a lot of them. Who wants to raise their hand when you have a patient that comes in and they have been riddled with estrogen and hormone symptoms their whole lives, and they're about to be in menopause and their levels have bottomed out? What are you testing for xenoestrogens? And how are you doing that? In the urine? That doesn't show up in blood. That doesn't show up in your Dutch lab. That doesn't show up as an estrogen. So how do we know that their xenoestrogen load is at a safe level, that if you add estrogen into their body, it's not just going to add to the estrogen burden at the liver? How do you know that? Send me an email if you get this. I'd like to know. So that could have been my problem. Maybe I have this really high xenoestrogen load, and any kind of estrogen that comes into my body just compounds this problem, burdens my liver, and I do bad things with those hormones. So people say, well, then why do you push progesterone? And I kind of try not to push it, especially more in the last 5 years, because I want to push the pro-metabolic approach first. But because progesterone doesn't carry with it the risks that estrogen does. Just in my defense of that statement, why doesn't the liver have this incredibly complex breakdown system for progesterone that it does for estrogen? It does break it down, but progesterone actually increases and aids and supports in liver function and bile production. Estrogen doesn't do that. Estrogen has so many pathways and so many processes it goes through in the liver just to be deactivated, because it is that potent. It is necessary, and it grows babies, and it is magical, and it can support bone growth, and it can support all kinds of things in the body. So don't get me wrong, I'm not villainizing it, but let's be truthful about how the process it has to go through to be, glucuronidation and sulfation and methylation and, water made water soluble. And then it gets all wrapped up and deactivated like a piece of kryptonite. And then it gets into the bowel, and if you have a healthy estrobolome and you have good levels of beta-glucuronidase and everything's working well in the bowel, you might secrete more, it might release more estrogen back into the system because you need it. But who has a healthy bowel? Nobody. Who's got good estrobolome? Nobody. Everybody's on keto. Nobody's even eating fiber anymore because carnivores don't believe in it. There's so many people that can't metabolize their estrogen after phase 1 and phase 2. It gets to phase 3, and then it just recycles all this estrogen back in the body. It's incredibly more potent by that time. You can literally take estrone and do bad things with it. You can take estriol and do bad things with it. You can take a phytoestrogen and do bad things with it. It depends on the individual. So that's what gets me is when and yeah, it's social media. So a TikTok clip only shows a second or two of what's being talked about. But it always seems to be the clips that are like, it's life changing. HRT is life changing, but somehow there's a hyper focus on estrogen. There's plenty, and everybody's laughing at the tissue issue. People are like, I think I consider Instagram friend and a famous, board certified, amazing gynecologist who I've had on my show. She even said, it's not a big deal. There's nothing, aromatization is fine, but you're making a weak estrogen when you aromatize it. You tell that to my body. That's not happening. Aromatization in me, we want to avoid aromatization. This is at the core of what's happening in breast cancer. And it can aromatize to estradiol. I'll put those links in the show notes. So I know that's not 100% accurate. Okay, so maybe it's a small percentage of people. And so, these things are so important to me. And I just want to, so you're seeing me on attack, not on attack, but I'm seeing all this information coming out about estrogen and HRT. And I feel like I need to shout even louder, even though I get pummeled when I comment in these big doctor influencer people's, Instagrams or whatever. I don't care. Because I know that there's other women who are watching and listening, and they're like, that's me. That's me. I grow fibroids. I grow cysts. I grow things. I was clotting my whole life. And yeah, my estrogen's low now, but when I take estrogen, I don't feel right. It doesn't feel right for me. So it can be life-changing. Would have been a better way to present that in the clip. What happens when women take HRT? It's life-changing. They have their lives back. Do they though? Let's dig into each one of those scenarios. Do they have their libido back and so their marriage was saved? Well, hallelujah to that. But they're not sleeping through the night now, or they're losing their hair, or they're dealing with all kinds of other issues. So that's just my goal is let's meet in the middle, guys. Meet me halfway. So I think that's my rant about that. Now, something that's far more exciting is the fact that I just opened early bird registration for my Detox Essentials class, Detox Essentials course. Now, this is a course that I shouldn't say a course. This is information that people have been asking me for probably my entire career. So I'm going to go with 17, 18 years. And I did do some versions of this in the past, and then I quit it, and then now I feel like in the group, there's the top 5 questions asked in the group. And this is number 1. How do I detox my liver? How do I detox my gut? What do I do about these things? And it's so difficult to just answer every single question. And I started to write a guide in the estrogen dominant support group. It's guide number 6 and super helpful. There's going to be some basics about detox, and I still will put that up. But I stopped it because I was planting this course. I was making this course and waiting for it to kind of flow through with flow. And it has, and it's really, really fun. Because that's my big thing is I don't want it to be overwhelming and clinical. I want it to be usable and fun, but I also want it to be very functional so that it's understandable. People don't get lost. So the Detox Essentials is broken into 2 courses. One is a 2-day mini course. So it's 4 hours total. So we'll do 2 hours one day, 2 hours the next week. And it's going to be a lot of information packed into that 4 days. So people who are brand new to the world of detox, brand new, they won't get lost. It's doable for everybody. And we're going to get a lot accomplished in that 2 days. And it's $25. Okay. So come on, guys, let's do it. And then there's the advanced course. And that's $275. But if you took the mini course and you wanted to upgrade, you could put that $25 towards the advanced course. And also for early bird registration for the advanced course, you can use the coupon code earlybird and you'll get $50 off. So come on, guys. My last course was $550 with Jake Miner, and it was amazing. It was so good, wonderful. Everybody loved it. It was a lot of fun. This one is only going to be $225, right? And so you don't need to have previous knowledge about anything. You can come in bare bones basic, but if you have a ton of knowledge, you're also going to feel gratified by the information. You're going to feel like it's useful. And so it's live. It's a Zoom call. So we're only going to allow 75 people total in the first round. So the 2-day mini course is 2 days into the advanced course. Do you see what I'm saying? So if you join me, hey, woohoo! I thought I turned those off, but I'm glad I didn't. How do you do that? Did I spell balloons in sign language without realizing it? How about heart? Deep, deep. Oh, I love it. Okay. So the first 2 days of the course will literally be the first 2 days of the course for everyone. So the advanced people are going to be in that class with you. So advanced people, but the advanced course members are going to be in the mini course too. So we're all going to be together in that course. And then if you don't upgrade, that'll be the end of that. If you do upgrade, or if anyone who automatically joins the advanced course, I'm going to have a private Facebook group just for us. And we can post labs. I'll do my best to, I can't do full-on diagnostic interpretations because I'm not a doctor, but I can give input. So if you have your Dutch or you have something that shows your detox pathways, you don't have to. It's not necessary to have that to be in this course. But you're going to learn so much that you it'll be evergreen. Like you will always be able to refer to, if you like, oh, okay, this might be detox, or it might be a time to detox. So I'm excited. It's 9 weeks total, including the 2-day mini course, and you don't have to attend live. So if you miss a day, you can watch playback in the Facebook group, or you can watch it on my website. And we're going to go through things like, we're even going to touch on genetic mutations, and we're going to touch on, we're going to get real deep into estrogen metabolism and what's happening for whom. So this is the stuff that I want to talk about when I just went off the rails there into the weeds about, supplementing estrogen. Like, should you be supplementing estrogen? Are you a candidate? And how can you tell if you are or you're not? And gut health is a big one that'll be covered also in the basics class, and how we can encourage and support gut health, gut detox, and foods, remedies, recipes, lifestyle changes, all the things needed to fully understand and support detoxification, not just through the liver, but through all our detox organs, and how to support that in a healthy way. And so that's why I couldn't just do a regular guide in the estrogen dominant support group, because the guide couldn't encompass everything that's in my brain and everything I know about detox. By the way, detoxification, I could probably have like, a PhD in detox at this point, because my mentors, all of them, mainly Dr. Marshall and Dr. Medici and Dr. Joe DeToro and all these people that I worked with for a long time, they were all about detox. We will talk about parasites, candida, heavy metals. We'll talk about all of it, all the detoxes. So I really hope that y'all join me. I made it as affordable as I possibly can without, being able to keep the lights on and all the things. And so yeah, I hope you guys want to take advantage of this. So you can go to the link in the show notes. There's a lot of good info in the show notes today. We will be back with some solo podcasts of episodes of me talking about things such as we did today. And we have sponsors now, which I'm so excited about. Don't forget about 7 Weeks Coffee. Don't forget about Saturé. And don't forget about Preborn. And thank you guys so much. I love my community and I appreciate you guys so much. All right.